Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I wanted to give you an update on my Deadpool. I wanted to show you a really amazing clear with him at stage 39 of Corvus, which is currently the highest I can go, and one of the highest that anyone is able to go, I think, maybe 49, and give you my overall thoughts on the character, having played with him more. So right now, I've been able to get his gears all up to 20, which cost Phoenix Feathers, are quite expensive, and then once you do that for any character that has the ability to get potential, as you know, then you can search for potential. Now, I've already completed my search for potential on Psylocke, which is right here, Telepathy, and Domino, and Phantom X, and Colossus. So I only have Deadpool and Cable. So I only have Deadpool and Strife left. But in Deadpool's case, it's not really coming along well. This is kind of what's holding me back at the moment. I've gotten 4% on my World Boss clears at least 3 times, which is why it's taken me over a week to get his potential unlocked. And, you know, for some of you, you got it in one day from one clear because it filled up the bar all the way to 100%. In my case, I haven't been that lucky. The most I've gotten in one clear is 16%, which is pretty pathetic. But I wanted to show you guys this 52.37% so you can pay attention when I clear this stage and you can see just how much I get. So the challenge is for level 40, and for those of you that are curious, really quickly before we get into the actual fight, of course you have to clear it quickly and you have to clear it 15 times, but you also have to clear it with Medusa. So I'm going to be bringing Medusa into this stage, and that's why she's going to be on this team. She doesn't have any value to the team otherwise, and we're going to also be bringing along Shuri for the damage buff that she gives against Corvus, and of course the reduction that she gives to the damage that Deadpool's going to be taking. As far as the strikers, because I have a CTP of energy on Deadpool, I only have to bring 3 kind of ignore dodge strikers. Then I really want to bring Scarlet Witch along for the ride, and then I don't need anti-venom because of the heals, and frankly, if Deadpool dies, you know, he dies for other reasons. And then I'm going to bring in for the final one just some extra damage in the case of Luna Snow. So we're going to jump in here. Hopefully I can clear it in one go, and if not, then I'm gonna have to you know, cut this out and try again, saying that it was my first attempt. But I think we can one and done this one if we get a little bit lucky with some of the damage procs. So one of the things that I noticed, and I think I've pointed out to you guys before, is the power of his third skill and the fact that it adds a stacking all defense down on the enemy. It's actually really important to make sure that you try to get that third skill to land, and you actually have to wait until the end when he drops the grenades for the all defense buff to be debuff to be applied. So the first few hits don't actually trigger that all defense down, and you'll actually see it as a blue shield on the enemies above Corvus's health bar. But after he tosses up the grenades and you actually see the physical grenades that have Deadpool's face on them, then you'll know that it's time to... Ooh, I took a lot of damage there. Time to switch. And you can have... There's a couple times where you can actually get a nice cancel, like I did there with the 3 into 5. And in those situations, you'll be able to get the timing on the third skill into your iframe, or sorry, into your damage proc obelisk kind of perfectly. But the other big thing that I noticed that I wanted to point out to you guys was the power of Deadpool's 4th skill versus his 5th skill. And this is something that I find interesting, and I imagine that it's going to be the same whether the character's at tier 2 or tier 3, but essentially I think he might do more damage with his 4th skill than his 5th skill. And there are some characters that do have that quirk, but it is quite uncommon. Most characters rely on their 5th skill to do the majority of their damage, and for most characters that have very good damage on their 4th skill, it's usually because of an additional effect. For example, Scarlet Witch having the mind control on her 4th skill that she doesn't have on her 5th skill, and those 2 skills having similar damage. I think Scarlet is probably the best example of a character like that, but in my testing against world bosses, especially this stage against Corvus, I found that Deadpool does a very respectful amount of damage, more than respectful, with his 3rd skill. It's almost, I would say, better than his 5th skill damage. And the advantage of his 4th skill is that it doesn't have a gap in the iframe. It's got a full iframe effect, so if you can get the damage proc to land, you can see that that's over a bar. It's an insane amount of damage that he gets to pull off with that skill. and it surprises me almost every time that it lands. But when it lands, you can see it land on a full proc. It's usually minimum a bar. And so, a lot of trouble there. Took a lot of damage from the bleed. Don't want to die. We have lots of time still because of all the damage we've been able to do. We're only at the halfway minute mark, and this is at the halfway minute mark with a tier 2 character, gear 20, you know, level 60. So it's very impressive, even without a uniform, that Deadpool's doing this much damage. Oh, come on. So I am quite impressed with him, and I think he's probably the only tier 2 character at level 60, gear 20, that can finish this stage 39. But we're going to go into the next phase here, or not. Okay, we skipped it. Cool. And I just need Scarlet Witch to do a couple of those patented mind control attacks, and then we should be good on the, you know, stage clear timer. We actually missed the damage proc a little bit there, but that's okay. And the other good thing, the other really good thing about having, wow, look at that that fourth skill damage. The other really good thing about having Deadpool with basically 2 really high DPS skills, 5 and 4, is that you can alternate. And so that's the rotation that I've been doing for the majority of this fight, but you can see it now in full swing. It's basically 3 canceling into the 5th skill or 4th skill, and then when it ends, I do 1 and 2, excuse me, and then when those skills end, I do 3, and then I alternate into the other skill, because I usually find that, wow, I think this is my best clear ever. I usually find that his 5th skill isn't always ready after the full proc, after the full rotation of 1, 2, and 3. So you can see there my potential really didn't go up by that much. I didn't get a book. I didn't get any CCF, Cosmic Cube Fragments. I was really hoping that, you know, doing it for you guys live, doing it for you guys on the video in one take would boost my luck, but it didn't. So just to recap here, as far as my other materials for Deadpool's tier 3, of course, I still need to get his gears to 25, so I'm going to need more than 3,000 feathers. I still need to get him to level 70, which is going to cost way more than 1,000 Emcron crystals. But in addition to that, even when I get all that done, I'll need 1,200 Cosmic Cube Fragments, which I already have, which is great. I'll need 1,000 of these, which hopefully I'll still have. 500 of these, again, hopefully. And then I'll need 10 speed books, as of which right now I only have 9, but I'm very close. We're just waiting for the potential to clear up. But I just wanted to reiterate what I was saying before. Because his 5th skill has an 18-second cooldown, that's actually 9 seconds with 50% skill cooldown. So it doesn't actually equate to a perfect rotation where you always land the proc on the 5th skill. But with his 4th skill having an 8-second cooldown, because 16 divided by 2, you can very comfortably do kind of a 3... You cancel towards the end of the 3rd skill, but a 3 into 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the very first rotation probably can't do the full 3rd skill because it will trigger the proc early. So usually I just open with the 5th skill and hope to hit the proc right away. But then after that, I'll do 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then usually by that time, when I let that 3rd skill ride out, the 4th skill lands on the proc, and then I can do 1, 2, 3, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 over and over again. And then, of course, I can always chain 5 and 4 back to back if I'm worried that I'm going to take damage. He really only takes damage in the later half of his 5th skill and all of his 3rd skill, because those are the non-iframes. So you can play him defensively if you need to, but I'm just very, very impressed with his damage overall. I think a lot of people have underestimated it because they maybe have extremely high expectations from a native tier 2, but his damage is outstanding for the fact that he only has, you know, 18,400 physical attack. This is not counting his leadership, but he's got, you know, not explosive damage in terms of the number of his physical attack, but then the actual damage on the skills is insane. It's outstanding. The fact that he can do a stage 40 world boss ultimate, no uniform, no gear 25, no tier 3 is saying a lot. And of course, a character like Captain America could do a similar stage, but he has other difficulties, being that the majority of his skills don't do much damage, and then all of his damage is concentrated on his 6th skill. So I really like the consistency and the kind of evenness of a character like Deadpool, where basically all of his skills feel really strong, and he has 2 super strong skills in both 4 and 5. As far as the build, I think I've mentioned this before, but Overdrive is the preferred set, but you can also go for Power Vanguard Hulk, but I would definitely go full offensive for Deadpool. I think without a doubt he's going to become the kind of de facto #1 speed character. I think especially once people start getting him to tier 3 and testing him out in the ABX day, which I think is kind of the last holdout for people who are skeptical about Deadpool in a couple of days here. A few days, we're going to see that his numbers are probably going to hit 2 million on speed day, and then it's going to be no question that Deadpool is the best, the #1 speed character in the game. So I'm just waiting for that, but I think deep down I know it's already true because it's so much easier and so much more comfortable, and the damage is just better comparing Deadpool to Winter Soldier. And if you look at the damage numbers, Winter Soldier has 6,000 more physical attack than Deadpool, and that's partially because I have a mythic uniform. That's partially because I have his first gear 223. All of the other Uru are the same, guys. We got 5-star Uru for Winter Soldier, and we've got 5-star Uru for Deadpool. But take away the mythic uniform and take away those gears, and Deadpool destroys. Oh, by the way, and level 70. So I think with that comparison in mind, and with that level 39 Corvus clear, let me know what you guys think of Deadpool. For those of you that are still not happy with the character, let me know why. Subscribe if you enjoy the content and you want to support me. Hit the bell if you don't want to miss any of my videos. And of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.